Am I the asshole for refusing to go on a family trip unless they disinvite my nephew's friend? Original post. I, 43 male, am really close to my family, consisting of my siblings, their spouses, their kids, and my parents. Every year we go on a vacation this time of year for 2 weeks and come back right before Christmas. We are supposed to leave a week from today. I am the divorced, single, sole parent to my daughter, 15, female. She jokingly calls herself a nerd. She's weird. She's quirky. She likes anime and video games and Star Wars, the whole stereotypical nerd thing. She does get bullied at school, but since leaving middle school and growing up a little more, she started taking it better, and mostly it stopped. This one boy, who I will call Jeff, 16 male, presumably, and is coincidentally my nephew's, who is also sort of an astral best friend, is an absolute nightmare. I've talked to the school. We've had meetings with his parents. She's switched around classes extensively, but he still goes out of his way to pick on Emily. She has told me herself that she can deal with name calling, but it doesn't stop there. He pulls her hair, rips her clothes, destroys her things. Like, this kid is a full-fledged nightmare. They even got into a fist fight that they were both suspended for last year because he stole her backpack and put it into a full toilet in the boys' bathroom. When I was discussing plans with my sister, she brought up needing to buy Jeff a winter coat. When I realized he was going on the trip, I actually almost lost it. I told her admittedly without thinking that we weren't going, and she began begging me, talking about tradition and family and blah, blah. I said, no, I'll eat my portion of the cost, but we are not going. After a longer conversation, I said, I'll go if they disinvite Jeff. We are well off, and we are lucky to have grown up in a financially stable home with parents who are attentive and supportive, and for our kids to have done the same. Jeff was not that lucky. He lives in a really unstable environment, both financially and emotionally. This was apparent to me from the meetings with his parents, as his father did not care and his mother blamed my daughter for being evil, and these were multiple separate meetings. This is awful, and I'm sorry that Jeff or any child has to go through that, but I told my sister that my position still stands. The conversation went back and forth, mostly just her throwing excuses. Jeff has divorced parents. He grew up differently than us. Maybe it's just a crush, you, so on and so forth. When I reminded her of the fight, she said, I know, but Jeff needs this. She mentioned how he needed a break from his toxic home life, and I respect that, but why does that mean I have to put my daughter in a house with her tormentor for 2 weeks? I told her I wasn't changing my mind and went home. Now there's pure chaos. My family is split. My parents are begging me to go. I'm getting texts near constantly. My daughter told me she's not going if Jeff is going. She had a full-blown panic attack over it. Maybe I'm looking for validation, or maybe I really need a wake-up call and I'm just a selfish asshole. Comments OP replies before reading the update. Hold firm. I'd say, since when does our family reward egregious behavior? Reply from OOP. Excellent wording. Thank you. Comment. Not the asshole. Jeff's situation may be tragic, but your priority should always be your daughter. And it sounds like you've got your priorities straight. Stick to your stance. Jeff is not your responsibility. And asking you to sacrifice your daughter's mental well-being for a child who has repeatedly tormented her is downright cruel. I'm guessing he hasn't even apologized and showed remorse, and they expect you and your daughter to roll over for him just because he has a tough time for him to learn a tough lesson not to take his problems out on others. Reply from OOP. No real apology, no. They read each other apology letters for their suspension, but that's it. As I said, it's really sad that a child is struggling in the way Jeff is, but my kid doesn't need to pay for that. Now, for the update. Hi, everyone. I hope you're good. I have an update resolution that I figured I'd share, though truth be told, it's a bit anticlimactic. Before I start, I wanted to say thank you to anyone who put in their 2 cents. I appreciate all of the comments, though I got overwhelmed with attention very quickly. And I'm sorry if any questions remained unanswered. There were a lot of comments. I am still trying to maintain some anonymity, but I am happy to answer any questions that don't impede on that. Night before last, my 3 siblings, their spouses, and my parents all gathered at my sister's house to talk this through. I very immaturely sort of walked in with a mild attitude. I knew I wasn't going to change my mind. I felt like this was a waste of time, but my daughter keeps expressing to me how badly she wants to go on the trip, so I went. It started off with my sister and my mom crying and just asking me to go, but that got shut down really fast by pretty much everyone else. My sister expressed that she just felt so bad for Jeff. Again, he's lower class with a mother who treats him like a baby and a father that doesn't care. She mentioned that Jeff and Emily have been polite to each other in the presence of family and figured they were getting over their issues. I did find out that the waiver he was on extended to his tuition, despite being told that it was for his uniforms and school supplies, so my apologies for incorrect comment I made. Regardless, she was trying to convince me and my entire family to allow Jeff to come. I really do get it, and I am a person who can experience empathy, sometimes to a fault, but for the millionth time, my empathy towards Jeff and his situation does not overpower my need to protect my daughter. As her only parent, it is literally my duty to make sure she is safe, and this is not safe. Thanks to a comment, I did say my daughter does not feel safe around Jeff, to which my brother-in-law The sister in question's husband replied, well, that settles it. The only adult who wanted Jeff to go was my sister. The only people who wanted me to compromise and go and ignore Jeff were my mother and sister-in-law. Everyone else was adamant that Jeff did not go. No one knew he was invited, and it wasn't until I sent in the group chat that I would not be attending because of Jeff's presence that anyone, including my sister's husband, knew Jeff was going. My father, who is actually a therapist, has been ridiculously supportive through this whole thing. He explained his reasonings for not wanting Jeff there besides the obvious. Most notably, and as many others, including myself, have pointed out, he started bringing up the subject of sex. My nephew mentioned to him that Jeff does like Emily, and if his mindset is as dysfunctional as we are led to believe, he's not currently capable of expressing that to Emily in a healthy way, which could lead to him attempting to essay hair. Note, my sister tried to I told you so me about the crush, but I literally laughed at her. I really honestly don't care if he has a crush on my daughter. He's so awful to her. She takes it like a champ. She holds her head up high, and I'm so proud of her for that. But that doesn't change the fact that Jeff has been so sincerely awful to her that it makes me sick. It was ultimately decided that Jeff was not going. Thanks to another comment I saw, I did tell her that she was doing a great thing by trying to help this boy, but her niece came before him in this situation. I brought up that Jeff might retaliate against Emily again, thanks to another comment, for being disinvited. So we did come up with a plan, sort of. My nephew had to tell him at school the next day that Jeff was no longer invited because he didn't want him and Emily to get into a fight. I thought that was a dumb plan, I'm not going to lie, but as long as the blame was off of Emily, I didn't care. We left for the night, both Emily and I hugged my sister. She apologized, it was generally okay. I'm still frustrated with her for trying to be this boy's savior at the risk of my daughter, and we have yet to have that conversation, but I'm sure it will come with time. My mother told Emily that she was sorry for seemingly wanting to subject her to Jeff, and she didn't mean to come off that way, she simply wanted us to come. I am still frustrated with my mom, but again, a conversation to come with time. I told my daughter not to get her hopes up because part of me still didn't believe that Jeff was really not going to go, but we proceeded with cautious optimism. In the meantime, I spoke with my lawyer friend who did advise me not to go on the trip if Jeff was going and not to speak to him or his parents directly. No problem there. I had resigned to not going and I had no interest in talking to anyone. Additionally, my sister's husband and I had a long talk about how he was really disappointed in her for this. That's not my business, but I was happy that he was still as fiercely protective of my daughter as I always thought he was. I have to give my nephew props because he took the news well, although he was disappointed. He understands that what Jeff does is wrong, but I'm still not really sure why he puts up with it, besides that he's a teenager who doesn't want to lose his friend. So this leads us to last night. Emily shows me a message from my nephew that just says, so Jeff backed out law, and that's it. Get this, Jeff didn't know that Emily was going. My nephew went to tell him what was up, and he got as far as saying Emily is going to be there before Jeff backed out. I spoke to my nephew who said Jeff just got weird and said he couldn't go, and they left it at that. Jeff seemed disappointed, and I do feel sorry for him, but again, my daughter comes first to me. My brother-in-law only sent me laughing emojis. Initially, I was still not sure if I'd go because a lot of comments suggested I should not go on principle. With that being said, my daughter said she'd rather go on this trip, even after I tried to suggest we do something else. So now we're going. Yay! That's really it. Sorry it's so long and I wish it was more exciting, but it is not. I tried to put emphasis on the conversation with my family because that was the important part. But even then, we were just standing around my sister's kitchen talking, no big confrontation or anything. Regardless, have a good day and a happy holiday season. Thank you for reading and for all the advice. I do appreciate it. Story 2. I met the girl my husband is mentoring and now I feel insecure. Original post. Hello all. My husband works in a law firm and recently started mentoring a fresh new hire. He's an open book with me, so he tells me everything that goes on in his work life and asks if he could invite his mentee over for dinner and to meet our family. I said yes, he's done this a couple of times in the past and brought to dinner freshly graduated guys and girls, and we had always had pleasant evenings. We organized the date and I met this girl. First thing, she was gorgeous, like drop dead gorgeous. Second, I learned she's a Harvard graduate and her father is a senator. She was very polite and glad to meet me, but the more the evening went on, the more I started feeling insecure. She couldn't stop gushing about my husband, how much she's learned from him, how awesome he is, etc. Which, to be honest, I agree with and feel proud of. But she also said things like, now, she understands why they say behind every great man there's a great woman, that my husband always says great things about me, and that I am even more beautiful than in the pictures my husband showed her. At the end of the evening, she said we are exquisite people and that she would like to meet again. I have been stewing on this for days. I don't know why, but first thing, I feel very insecure with this girl around. Not that I think my husband would cheat on me. I trust him wholeheartedly. Second, I catched her looking at my husband in a way I don't know I can describe, an expression that, in my opinion, screamed desire. That said, she gazed at me like that a couple of times too. She has those icy blue eyes, and the intensity of her stare was something that really put me off. I don't know what to make of it. My husband noticed I am a bit off and inquired about the matter, but I reassured him I am just a bit tired as of late. I thought this sensation would pass, but it's still there, and at this point, I think I need to talk about this with him. I hope I don't come off as crazy or paranoid. Comments OP replies before reading the update. Live Fuzzy 3633. The first issue I'd like to point out is you lied to your husband saying you've been a bit tired as of late instead of being open and honest about how you were feeling. I am sure if you explained yourself, I'd hope your husband would respect that and not bring her over to your home anymore. However, as far as harboring any hopes of him discontinuing his mentorship of her, I think it would be incredibly unfair for her to miss out on the tutelage she deserves at her new workplace. I do think the feelings you were feeling are natural and valid, but I also think they are coming from a place of deep insecurity, and I think that's something you should work on inside of yourself and not put it on those around you. I hope this didn't come off too harsh, and I do wish you the best of luck with this. Also, your husband is married to you, not anyone else. I'm sure he believes you're the most beautiful woman on earth. OOP, thank you for your opinion. I agree that it would be unfair if my husband stopped mentoring her if I asked him, and he would if I did. But I still feel this uneasiness, and you are right. I shouldn't have lied about it and hid my feelings. Now, for the update. Hello, guys. And I wanted to update you all on my situation. Turns out my husband and this woman were really having an affair, and we are getting divorced. Nah, just kidding, sorry. What really happened was that after I read and reread all the responses I had gotten, I thought about all of it, took some steps back, and took a big breath. I didn't talk about this with my husband, but I took some time to self-care, pick back up yoga and paintings while considering my next course of action. I concluded the issue was all in my head, and perhaps I felt like I did because I wasn't tending to my marriage like I should have. I started putting in that little extra, getting more engaged about his going-ons, taking him out on dinner dates, and joining him on his hikes, much to his delight. I also took care of myself, got a new hairstyle and color and some new clothes. My husband had to pick up his jaw from the floor and was very appreciative, and I admit this gave me kind of the ego boost. Although I never said anything, I think he kind of picked up on my feelings last month because a couple of times, completely unprompted, told me how much he loves me, how I am the diamond of his life. Felt good being reassured like that. So things are good between us, and I'm looking forward to an amazing Christmas. As for the woman he's mentoring, the people who said she was playing the dance because she comes from a political family and saw her father doing it were right. We got invited to dinner, and her parents were exactly like their daughter, gushing all over us and how amazing my husband is to her, etc. So yeah, just politics and career. Husband admitted to me he is courting her father through the girl because this could be the big break in his career. Things are relaxed between me and the girl. She came over for dinner another time, and this time I was confident and reassured enough that I enjoyed her company and found her a very talented and intelligent young woman who will be going places. I admit I still have some jealousy towards her, but I am using it to drive myself in my program of self-improvement. I have some big plans to improve my life and perhaps change careers, and I am sure my husband will be thrilled about it. That's it for now. Wish me luck. Comments OP replies. I want to add that my husband never did anything to make me feel insecure. He's always full and present with me. He stuck with me through thick and thin. It's just that at times my insecurities take the best of me and I feel I am inadequate, that he deserves better. I know it's not true, and he doesn't feel like that at all, and it's something I have to work on. Relevant comments. Alternative Prior 9559. Phew, your opening paragraph had me going. I was just about to go nuts on your behalf. I'm delighted that you've taken a step back and evaluated all of this, OP. All the little changes you've made are amazing, and I'm sure your husband appreciates them. I hope you have a wonderful, passionate Christmas. Oh, OP, thank you. I realized this was a me problem. Husband and this girl did nothing wrong. I realized I was dissatisfied with a lot of things in my life, naturally not my marriage, and I am looking to fix them. Story 3. Am I the asshole for refusing to share my biological kids' funds with my stepchildren? I, 42 male, have 2 biological children, Anna, 16 female, and Jake, 14 male, from my first marriage. When their mother passed away, she left them a substantial inheritance, which I've carefully managed in trust funds for their future education and other needs. My late wife and I always prioritize their future, and this money is meant to support their goals, whether that's college, starting a business, or something else they dream of. A few years ago, I married my current wife, 39 female, who has 2 kids from her previous marriage, Ethan, 15 male, and Sophie, 12 female. I love my stepchildren and treat them with the same care and respect as my own, but their father is still in their lives and provides financial support. While I contribute to their day-to-day needs, my wife and I never discussed blending the finances meant specifically for Anna and Jake. Recently, my wife brought up the idea of using some of Anna and Jake's trust funds to help with Ethan and Sophie's upcoming expenses, such as extracurricular activities and potential college savings. She argued that it's unfair for my biological kids to have such a financial advantage while her children don't. She believes that as a family, we should pool resources equally for all the kids. I told her that I couldn't do that. The trust funds were set up solely for Anna and Jake, and I don't think it's right to take money from them that their late mother intended for their future. I offered to work with her to find other ways to save for Ethan and Sophie, but she was upset, accusing me of playing favorites and not fully accepting her kids as part of the family. The argument escalated when her parents got involved, suggesting I was being selfish and that it's my responsibility to treat all the children equally. Now, even Anna and Jake are aware of the situation and feel awkward, worrying that they're being resented by their stepfamily. I feel torn because I love my stepkids and want them to succeed, but I also want to honor the intentions behind the money their mother left for them. So am I the asshole for refusing to share my biological kids' funds with my stepchildren?